Let's take a look at Thursday in the NBA. There are 5 games on. Who do we stream in? How do we use the schedule to our advantage with a very lean period coming up? Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and buy me Bone Storm or go to hell. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free, we are available on all platforms, and we are part of the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you for making us part of that. Also, thank you for pushing me up close to 100k subs on YouTube. We're trying to get there. We've crossed 92, 8 to go. Can we do it? I hope so. I doubt it. I hope so. Please. I beg just a crumb of subscribers. Please. Daily look ahead. Daily look ahead. Let's look to Thursday in the NBA. It is a light day, the lightest day this week with 5 games on. Here are the games. But first of all, what time are the games? Because that's always important to note as well. We've got a 7 p.m. start for 2 of them. We've got 7:30 and then we've got 8. So I believe for the second consecutive day, we are going to have early nights. Tuck yourselves in nice and early for the next 2 days. There you go. Celtics Wizards, Warriors Sixers, Jazz Nets, Lakers Raptors, and Timberwolves Pelicans are the 5 games. Now, I will just mention something because you do this show and you do like almost 6,000 episodes, which is where I'm getting up to on this, and there are things that you just don't expect that aren't understood. And that's okay. We're always about bringing new people in and educating them. So I put this screen up and you can see the games and it has the spreads and it has the totals. And people go, what do those spreads mean? Is that Josh's picks for the game? Well, I guess we'll come back and check whether he was right. No, that's not what this is. When it says Boston on the screen by 10.5, that is the odds that have been set by FanDuel. That is their line that is set is Boston to win by 10.5 points. And then you choose either side of it. That is not my prediction. The spread of Utah by 4 is the bookmakers and FanDuel setting a line saying Utah is favored by 4 points. That's what that is. It's not my picks. I don't do picks like that. Again, if I'm going to do something, and when I do it, I put all 3 balls in. I'm going to do everything. And for me to put that into gambling and betting and props and that sort of stuff, I'd need to put a lot more effort in, and then my fantasy coverage would suffer. So I don't. Occasionally, if I see something that looks weird, I'll be like, that's weird. I'd even suggest that the Lakers by 3 in Toronto is a little weird. That's a bit weird to me. The Raptors are playing well. The Lakers have been pretty good, but a 3-point favorite on the road, that's a little weird. All right, I'd say that's weird. I wouldn't say it's like an absolute stone cold lock of the century, but it's a little weird. That one's a weird one. But I don't put my whole ass into gambling and things like that because I don't do it. And I don't have the time, and if I did, I'd be creating bunches of algorithms and spreadsheets and automated processes to get that stuff done. And I'm not doing it. So there you go. Let's look at the games. Celtics Wizards, first game. Jaylen Brown has been on fire this season, but he's so on fire he is now sick and doubtful. And it's interesting to get a doubtful tag on an illness over 24 hours in advance of a game, but that's what we got. Alex Sarr, he's missed the last couple for Washington. We know the drill here. If Sarr is out, you are stuffing Marvin Bagley down your gullets. And then you also look at Tristan Vukcevic. But if Sarr plays, then they're not as useful. And Chris Middleton sat the last game on a back-to-back, so he'll be available, ready to go, in and playing. The second game is one with one of the longest injury lists that we have seen. Doesn't mean they're all in or out. It just means that there's a bunch of guys that we don't know about. That is Philadelphia hosting the Golden State Warriors. Steph is out. Al Horford has been upgraded to questionable. Trace Jackson-Davis is questionable. And usually that wouldn't matter. But the fact that all of their centers are questionable does matter. Because Quinton Post is also questionable. Kelly Oubre is out. Trent Watford is out. Jimmy Butler is questionable after leaving the last game with a knee issue. Joel Embiid is questionable. Paul George is questionable. Quentin Grimes is questionable. John Kuminga is questionable. Jared McCain is questionable in the first game of a back-to-back. And then I said Quentin Post is questionable. So we just don't know. Now, the reason George is questionable, Paulie George, first game of a back-to-back. The reason Jared McCain is questionable, first game of a back-to-back. The reason Joel Embiid is questionable, Joel Embiid. But I don't know those statuses yet. But that is a lot of things that can change in this one. What we do know is that De'Anthony Melton is available for the Golden State Warriors. And I talked about him on the Waiver Wire show earlier today. And it might seem like that's what you might have no Kuminga or no Post and no Steph and Jimmy Butler might be out, so Melton might be a good adder. I don't believe he is. Not that I don't like De'Anthony Melton, but he is a little older than what his prime is. And you have I'll just roll the names off the top of my head. There's Steph, obviously. He's out, yeah, but there's Pajemski. There's Moody. There's Hield. There's Payton. There's Will Richard. There's Pat Spencer. Who else can Steve Kerr throw out there? The Warriors have got 8 shooting guards. And they're all going to manipulate and eat into and limit the upside value of all of their other teammates. And Melton's not coming in playing 27 minutes off the bat with a minutes restriction and sitting back-to-backs. But he is available. So all that is, Seth Curry, the other name. All it means is it's just worse news for every other guard on the team. And we know that the Sixers, if Embiid is out, then Drummond's value is up and Boner's become more useful. If George is out, then Barlow's value rises. If Grimes is out, then McCain's value rises. If McCain is out, then Edgecombe's value rises. There's just a lot of different variables here in this one. The next game is the Jets. The Jets. That's a combination of the two teams, the Jazz and the Nets. The Jazz are taking on Brooklyn in Brooklyn. Terrence Mann, he's out for Wednesday. I'm going to put him questionable here. George Niang is out. Cam Thomas is out. Yegor Dioman and Michael Porter Jr. I'm listing them both as questionable. It's a back-to-back. I don't know whether they play both of them. We talked about this, that the Nets were on the middle of the 5-game in 7-night run. This is towards the end of that run. And Dioman has missed a game already. Porter has missed a game. Obviously, Mann has missed a game. So just be aware, maybe something else crops up, like a Nick Claxton rest or something like that across these back-to-backs. Kevin Love also questionable for me because it is the back-to-back for Utah, first of the back-to-backs, meaning that Lovey will sit one of them, probably the second one, but we can never be 100% sure on that. The Lakers and the Raptors, Rowan Barrett Jr. remains sidelined for the Raptors. I don't know how much longer he's going to be out, maybe not too far away. Marcus Smart's missed the last couple for the Lakers, so I'll put him questionable. And then you'll see LeBron James and Jakob Poeltl both questionable because for both of these teams, the Raptors and the Lakers, it's the first night of a back-to-back. And Poeltl has been resting back-to-backs recently with his back issue. And LeBron, he sat the last back-to-back the Lakers played. Here is another back-to-back, so he will sit one of these two games. I just don't know which one of them at this point. So therefore, he is being labelled questionable. And the final game of the day is a game that I believe we just saw yesterday. Timberwolves and Pelicans in New Orleans. Herbalife Jones will be out. Jordan Poole, I expect to be out. We know Zion Williamson is out. And then last game, Yves Missi sat down for New Orleans, which meant that we got some unbelievable minutes from Kevon Looney, but it also meant that the Blizzard Derek Queen was able to yassify his way into larger playing time. I just don't know about the status of Missi, while the Timberwolves, which seems to happen a lot, they have literally nobody injured. Not a single player injured on their team. Not even a long-term injury, not even a questionable tag, not even a two-way guy. Literally nobody's injured on that team, which is rare. There's no other team that fits that bill. It's just them. They're the only team that has that good fortune at the moment. We'll come back and we'll talk about the schedule and we'll try and knead it in our hands like a ball of Play-Doh and get the most out of it. But today's episode, it is brought to you by Robinhood. What if sports were traded like markets? Now, you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. You can use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. You always have known the game, but you've never had that dynamic way to apply that knowledge. And now you can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the US. Download the Robinhood app now. to begin. I believe just as I am speaking, some injury updates dropped. So let's just have a look at what those are. Yusuf Nurkic popped up as questionable for the Utah Jazz. Oh, and Jakob Poeltl ruled out for the Raptors. Kevin Love ruled out for the Jazz. And Luka Doncic ruled out for personal reasons against Toronto. I know. Come on. We all know what that is. He doesn't want to go to Canada. Imagine going through customs and someone's like, how's it going, eh? I'm out. I'll see you later. I'm done. Who's coming here? So that's why Luka's not going. Personal reasons, hates Canada. Done. So Luka's out. Marcus Smart is out. Means LeBron's going to play. But Poeltl out as well. So that game just took on a little bit of a different feel. Shall we manipulate schedules? We should. Let's take a look. Where do the back-to-backs sit for Thursday's action, and how do we, make sure we're aware of it? Well, there's only one team coming into Thursday on a back-to-back. That's the Nets. That's why we put Jakob Poeltl and Michael Porter Jr. on the questionable list. I believe that they're ready to go for Wednesday. I don't think that's confirmed, but there is a situation there where they could sit on Thursday. But then you've got 5 teams playing the Thursday, Friday. Remember, Friday is a 12-game day. So it's not as much about, do I add players from these teams to be able to get the 2 games for the price of 1? Because on Friday, you're probably not starting these guys. But you've got Boston. We already know Jaylen Brown's going to sit on Thursday. Don't know if they do anything with Derek White or Cade or anything like that. Just watch that one. The Lakers, Doncic is already out Thursday. LeBron will be out Friday, is my guess. Philadelphia, so it's Embiid, it's George, maybe it's Edgecombe, and it's McCain. Toronto, Jakob Poeltl's already out on Thursday, which is great for streaming, although, and that is good for streaming, because Sandra Mamukelashvili gets the bump there, and he becomes a really good option. Although they could start Murray Boyles, or they could start even smaller and put someone like Jamison Battle, which they did last time, which was dumb, and Darko realized that, and I don't think he'll do it again. And then in Utah, Kevin Love is sitting out on Thursday, and you know that now Yusuf Nurkic has been listed as questionable, so Kyle Filipowski and Taylor Hendricks for very deep leagues, but Kyle Filipowski could see his value really rise if Nurkic does sit that game on Thursday, and I guess now you have a risk of Nurkic sitting one of the 2 games. But from streaming purposes, you want it Thursday. If you have Nurkic, well, you'd prefer him to sit Friday. I guess that is the duality of a fantasy manager. Some of us really want one of these injuries or one of these sits to happen on a certain day, whereas the other one of us wants it the other way for our own selfish purposes, because we're human, and self-interest is what is important to us. Should it be? Well, that's a question for another show. Chunks. I like chunks. I like them big and chunky. So what are we looking at? The next 5 days. Thursday through to Monday. This is my time to remind you that Week 8 is the NBA Cup week. The schedule, as it currently sits, is correct, is complete, except for the teams that have made the NBA Cup quarterfinals. Right? The teams that have made it. Those teams, Miami, Orlando, doing this off the top of my head, Toronto, and the Knicks, the Suns, the Thunder, the Lakers, and the Spurs, those teams have 1 game each to be scheduled. If those teams that play Tuesday and Wednesday, the winners from Tuesday and Wednesday's games in Week 8, will then play on Saturday. The losers, will then play either Sunday or Monday of Week 9. So when I'm talking about the chunk here, we're heading into Monday of Week 8. That schedule is locked in, set, complete. And we'll do more of this when we do the Week 8 preview show later on. But that's where we're at. Now, Friday is a 12-game day, so you're not streaming on that day. But there are teams, 2 of them, that play 3 quality games over the next 5 nights that doesn't include Friday. And as has been the case so many times this season, I do not know why it's the case, but the Pelicans always seem to appear in this. So Jeremiah Fears, Jose Alvarado, maybe even you look at the GOAT Yves Messi. You look at Bryce McGowan's, you look in deeper leagues at Micah Peavy. Now you're going to have interesting scenarios if Poole returns and what happens there, but Fears and Alvarado Really good value. And the Golden State nonsense, Moses Moody, there's an option here for him. Pajemski, Richard, Curry. You wouldn't want to bank on Post or Kuminga or Melton because of the restrictions and back-to-backs and questionable tags. But they have 3 games. There are 2 players that I think are priority ads, even though they only have 2 quality games. Well, not priority ads, but they have 2 quality games and they're available in a lot of spots. So if you want to get a little bit of a leg up, Noah Clowney and Bilal Coulibaly from Thursday through to Monday have 2 quality games. And it pushes them ahead of some of the lower end 3-game guys. Now, if you want to look at 5s and 2s, because every week is created equal. Every 7-day period we class as a week. We don't care that it's a Monday to Sunday situation because we always want to be looking at what happens over the next 7. There's nobody that plays 5 games because week 7, which we're currently in, is a very busy period. There's a lot of games. Week 8 and week 9, again, shout out to Yahoo for somehow screwing it up for the 3rd consecutive year of the NBA Cup, having absolutely no idea how to get it right. Last year, they made the right step by combining weeks and then combined the wrong ones. And this year, they said, I guess it's too hard. We're not going to combine any weeks. So I am ready for you to complain that in week 8 and week 9 on Yahoo and on ESPN, by the way, that you are going to have incredibly dumb weeks where teams play 1 game. Incredibly low volume weeks. It is coming. The weeks are not combined. You cannot combine them because, again, Yahoo does not give you any flexibility to do that. Neither does ESPN. The weeks are wrong. They have made a mistake yet again. And you are going to see weeks where players play 1 game in week 8 and week 9. But let's look at the next 7 days. The 7 days takes us from Thursday through to Wednesday. And the schedule from Thursday of this week, tomorrow, through to Wednesday of next week is set. It is locked in. There is no changes coming. The only changes to the schedule in week 8 are games to be added on Saturday, 2 games most likely to be added on Sunday. That is all that is changing next week. Nothing else is changing. So, would you look at this? Over the next 7 days, we have 20 NBA teams. Not 20, 16. I can't count. 16 NBA teams. Over half of the league plays 2 games over the next 7 days. Half of the league plays 2 games over the next 7 days. There are 2 teams in that period who play 4 times. That's the Lakers and the Raptors. They've got the Thursday, Friday back-to-back. They both play Sunday, and then they're in the NBA Cup knockout games on Tuesday and Wednesday for Toronto and the Lakers, respectively. But everyone else plays 3, and 16 teams play 2. These are the teams playing 2 games over the next 7 nights. Atlanta, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Chicago, Cleveland, Dallas, Denver, Detroit, Houston, Indiana, the Clippers, the Grizzlies, the Bucks, the Blazers, the Kings, and the Wizards. 2 games over the next 7 nights. We'll come back and we'll talk streaming. We'll talk the streams of the day and some other stream options. Before we do that, today's episode, it is brought to you by Game Time. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994, and with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. You're going to be able to sing that World Cup song. Which World Cup song? Well, it's going to depend how old you are. Are you singing the, what's that guy's name? The Ice Show Speed World Cup song? Or are you going to be singing the Ricky Martin World Cup song? Ole, ole, ole. Which one are you going to sing? Shakira had a World Cup song too. Doesn't matter, because you're going to get tickets from Game Time. The Game Time app is clutch, giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging those seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when the great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands. That's what FIFA's all about, always putting the power into the hands of fans. Makes going to the World Cup realistic. Instead of impossible, you open the app, you check out the layout. It's so simple. You scroll through, you find the game you want, and you click on it. And you're going to have your tickets locked in minutes. Plus, the seat view shows you exactly what part of the pitch and how you're going to view the pitch from that seat. So take the guesswork out of buying not only World Cup tickets, but tickets for any match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go, Game Time. World Cup. All right. We're here. You're subscribing. 8,000 of you are going to subscribe to this video right now. to hit us to 100K. I know you are. Thank you so much. Appreciate that a lot. Let's talk streaming. Let's talk streams of the day. For Thursday with 5 games on this will change when we get more news of guys in or out. So what are the streams of the day? At the moment, we are focusing in a lot in Boston because of the absence of Jaylen Brown. So Jordan Walsh looks like a good stream as a 10-team guy. Slemon Semi Hauser for a 12-teamer. Joshy Minot for a 14-teamer. And then in Toronto, you can go to Jamal Shed. Now, I will put Sandra Mamukelashvili, which just happened now as the absence of Poeltl. I would put him above Josh Minot as the 14-team league stream, Sandro. He'd be a really good stream there. For Yahoo points, we're looking at Bilal Coulibaly. And for ESPN points, these are all 70% available players. Nemesh Keita, the Pastel de Nata in Boston. Let's dig into some category league streams a little bit more in depth for 10-teamers. We are going to Jordan Walsh, Sam Hauser, Yegor Dioman, assuming he plays, he may not, Moses Moody, and then Kyle Filipowski, whose value can rise even more if Nurkic is in fact out. For 12-team formats, look at those first 5, you might find something there. Then you've got Josh Minot, Jamal Shed, Chris Middleton, Bryce Sensabaugh, and Bub Carrington. Also remembering, he's on the deep league stream list, but Sandra Mamukelashvili jumps to the top of this 12-team league stream list. With Luka out in LA, Jake LaRavia also enters onto this list. Marcus Smart is out, so he's not jumping up, but LaRavia is. And then Gabe Vincent will jump onto the deep league stream list, which currently includes Sandra Mamukelashvili, Day'Ron Sharpe, Jacoby Walter, Drake Powell in Brooklyn, and Danny Wolf. But add Jake LaRavia on, add Gabe Vincent on, and elevate Mamukelashvili and Colin Murray-Boyles onto this list as well in Toronto. For Yahoo points streaming, we've got Bilal, Noah Clowney, Jordan Walsh, Semi Hauser, and Jeremiah Sasha Fierce. For ESPN points, again, these are all 70% plus available, some of them being 90. Nemesh Keita, Jordan Walsh. I don't normally include blokes with questionable tags, but I've got Yusuf Nurkic on here because I didn't know he had a questionable tag, but now he does. Sam Hauser and Noah Clowney. And that, guys, is a look ahead to Thursday across the NBA. Streaming options, schedule hacks, general chit-chat. It's all there. You can thumb up and bang and comment and subscribe. Guys, I'd love it. I love it. We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.